Okay, I would like to call to order the December 20th, 2023 meeting of the Conservation Commission of the Town of Harwich, Massachusetts. This meeting is both being held live in the Griffin Conference Room at Town Hall, but you may also join the meeting on your computer, tablet, or smartphone, or you may dial into the meeting on your phone. The information on how to do this is listed on the town website. I would like to begin the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask Alan if he would do the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the first item on the agenda is a request for a determination of applicability for 6 Harwich Pines, map 103, parcel S1A-10, RDA-23-17. Is there somebody here to speak for that application?
Yes.
Could you just introduce yourself for the record, please?
I will. Good evening, Chair. My name is Dan Ojala. I'm a land surveyor and civil engineer with Cape Engineering in Yarmouthport, and helping Neil out with a very small favor to ask. This is a replacement of a deck, pretty much in kind. The only change is you'll notice the upper corners. It's a raised deck about 7 feet off the ground, and it's got these chamfered corners, which he's just going to square those off. And we hadn't proposed any mitigation, but Amy Sharpeye caught the fact that we were putting about 4 more square foot. It's no closer, but it's a lateral translation, about 4 square foot. So we did revise the plan on her request, dated December 15, and added, you do the multiple, so it's 4 times 3 be 12. We put 40 square foot, 3 good-sized bushes. So it's well over the required percentage, and that's in the revised plan, shows that in the northwest corner there. So I think it's a net improvement. You're pulling up some lawns fairly close to Long Pond and putting in some mitigation plantings. And for that, you just have a very slight deck that's on the shady side of the house anyway, and it's only adding about 4 square foot. I'll leave it at that short. If you wanted me to expand on anything, I'd be happy to. But hopefully you could find that this is worthy of the variance to do that work within the 50. And again, it's just squaring off 2 tiny corners, and you're getting a nice benefit by removing some lawn and adding some plantings. I'd be glad to answer any questions if you do have them.
Okay, thank you very much. Amy, do you have any comments on this matter?
Just real quick, echoing what Dan said, also this project is within mapped habitat, but it's exempt from review as it, for all intents and purposes, is a replacement of existing. They did request a variance, and they are proposing adequate mitigation for the slight increase, and it is just to square it off. The edges, the increase will not be any closer to the wetland than the existing structure already is. So in this case, I would recommend that you grant the variance and approve the project with a -3 determination.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Now I'd like to take comments or questions from members of the board. We'll start with Sophia.
I have no questions.
Okay, Alan?
No questions?
Mark?
I have no questions.
I have no
Warren?
questions.
And I have no questions. Seeing the board has no questions, there are people online. I would like to ask if there's anybody online that has any comments or questions on this matter. Okay, hearing none, is anybody prepared to make a motion on this matter?
I am.
Okay, Mark, go right ahead.
I would move for approval of the aforementioned project.
Okay,
Second.
Okay. Let me just, in discussion on the motion, do we also need a motion on the requested variance?
Should include that.
So if we could amend your motion, Mark, to include acceptance of the variance or approval. Is that all right with you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, is that all right with whoever seconded the motion? Okay, so I have an amended motion on the floor that has also been seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those approved, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks, very much for your careful consideration. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, again, is a request for a determination of applicability for 9 Hiawatha Road, parcel 5, parcel CG, or G5-1, RDA-23-18. Is there anybody here or online to speak on this, in favor of this request?
Yes, through the chair, John O'Reilly here, working with the Wileys, and we're here for the proposed single-family home. Our resource here is a land subject to coastal storm flowage, and there are no other resources involved. We are not working within an active buffer zone. It's a strictly land subject to coastal storm flowage. We are removing the structure that's there, reconstructing a new single-family home, not adding any additional bedrooms, and we are providing a flood-compliant foundation, which in itself will improve the property's ability to deal with storm damage or storm flooding. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I'd like to start and see whether Amy has any comments on this matter.
Really quickly, as John said, the only wetland resource here is the flood zone, and basically the standards for flood zone is you can't adversely impact the property's availability to be able to absorb flood waters, and you can't disperse them elsewhere. By putting a flood-compliant home in, that improves the situation, because currently the home is not flood compliant. It's in approximately the same footprint. The septic will remain. An additional bonus here is new drainage systems being installed, one for roof runoff and one for yard drainage. If you've been to the site, you'll see that it's kind of at the bottom of a bowl between, you have houses landward of it that are a little bit higher up, and all the road runoff pitches down towards this house, and also the house on the water seaward of this and the dune is higher than this. So not only is it getting infiltration for roof runoff, but it appears that for any potential yard or road runoff, John, you're also taking care of some of that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is correct. We're actually, the end result on this site will be about a 5% reduction of hardscape and roof, combination of hardscape and roof area. And we have tried to address the drainage by elevating the slab of the building as high as we can and still meet height requirements. But we are trying to capture the runoff through the dry well of the roof, and also taking up a section of a paved driveway and replacing it with a swale and subsurface leaching.
So it'll be a net benefit, and it won't have an adverse impact to other neighbors, which are higher in elevation anyways than this property. So I would recommend approval with a -2.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Now I'll go to any comments or questions from members of the board. I'll start this time with Wayne.
I don't have anything. Looks like it's gonna be a better than what's there situation.
Okay, Mark,
I have no questions.
Alan,
No questions.
Sophia,
No questions.
and I have no questions. Is there, since there's nobody in the room, is there anybody online that has any comments or questions on this matter? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion on this matter?
I'll move for approval of the aforementioned project.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second to that motion. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It's unanimous. The motion passes.
Great.
Thank you very much, John.
Have a great night.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is a request for an amended order of conditions for 23 Wauquasit Road, map 5, parcel K1-42, SE-32-2503. Do we have anybody to speak to this request?
Me.
Okay, Amy, go right ahead.
So they've asked to withdraw without prejudice, Mr. Chair, after having a conversation with me and after visiting the site with the owner. I think it's going to be, I think it makes sense to wait and see over the next year or two. There is no substantial in any way erosion that's happened, in my professional opinion, and to be honest, also the contractor, when I spoke with him, there's not really a need to do anything at this point, and as the existing fiber rolls have just been put in within the year, I think it's a better idea, it's not to wait and see how those act in the next year or two, and to see if more need to be added or not, but there's no apparent major erosion or marsh degradation that needs to be addressed at this time. So the owner has agreed to request that you would let him withdraw without prejudice with a motion, and my suggestion is that you move to that extent.
Okay, thank you very much, Amy. What I would like to do is just go through the members of the board to see if any of the members of the board have comments on this request. Sophia?
No comments.
Alan?
No comment?
Mark?
No comments.
I have no comments. Wayne?
No comment.
Okay, then do I have, well, before I do that, is there anybody online that has any comments on this request? Hearing none, do I have a motion to allow this applicant to withdraw this request without prejudice?
I would move to do so.
Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Unanimously approved. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a notice of intent for 9 and 11 Herring Run, map 3, parcel X3-2 and X3-3, SE 32-2546. And if my understanding is correct, the applicant has requested a continuation to our meeting of January 3rd, 2024. Is that correct, Amy?
Correct.
Okay. So do I have any discussion on this matter from any members of the board?
I would have to recuse myself because I'm on a butter to an abutter.
Okay, that's fine, Alan. Since it's a continuation, I don't think we're going to have any discussion, so you just have to abstain from voting. Okay, is there anybody online that has any comments on this matter? Hearing none, could I have a motion with regard to the continuation of this matter?
I'll move for the continuance.
Okay, and that continuance would be till our meeting of January 3rd, 2004, Mark?
Correct, as stated here.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. So the motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Okay, the next item on the agenda would be a review and approval of an order of conditions for Allen Harbor Beach Associates off Dunes Road, map 5, parcel Y1, SE 32-25-45. Do I have anybody to speak to this matter? Okay, hearing none. Amy, do you have comments on this matter?
No, I drafted the order of conditions for you. Please let me know if you have any proposed changes.
Okay, has everybody had an opportunity to review the order of conditions? Okay, I'll just go around. Sophia, do you have any comments on it?
I do not.
Alan? Mark?
No comments.
Wayne?
No comment.
Okay, and I have no comments. So do I have a positive motion on this matter?
I do.
Okay, I have a motion to close the public hearing and issue the order of conditions for this matter. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those that approve signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, the next item on the agenda is a request for a certificate of compliance for 9 Herring Run Road, map 36, parcel L1-1, SC32-2320. Amy, do you have comments on this?
Yep, and after I do, I know Martha Knapp, the Realtor, is online if she has any comments as well.
That's fine.
But the property has transferred, so the owner is not Daryl Swanson now. It is under new ownership. It was able to transfer without closing out the order of conditions. There are still a few things that are not quite as you permitted them. There is a patio that's outside the 100-foot buffer to the coastal bank, but is within the 1 to 200-foot riverfront area. The driveway was relocated, and based on the proposed plan, it could be on top of the leach area for the septic. The health department was looking into that. I haven't heard back. The as-built plan does not show the septic, so again, we don't know if the driveway is actually over the leach area. The driveway was put where it shouldn't have been put. They have removed the fence that we instructed them to remove, and I did not get a chance to check if the roof runoff now goes into dry wells. As of a month ago, when we checked, it wasn't, and it needs to. So I think we would have permitted the patio, but I think we would have required 2-to-1 mitigation, because it is within the 1 to 200-foot riverfront area, and that's our requirement, so it's a new structure. Permit has expired for this whole thing. What I would recommend you do is I'd recommend you require them to do an administrative review for the patio and require mitigation. The cert of compliance could be contingent upon this. The driveway is really not so much of an issue with us as it could be with the health department, because the driveway is pretty much the same size and approximately the same distance from the resource. But we just want to make sure, it's more of a health concern, to make sure that if it is underneath the driveway, that it's rated such that it can be driven across, and I don't know if that has been looked into. And again, I did speak with Meredith in the health department here, who's looking into that. But I would recommend either we table this, or cleaner way I think could do it is do an administrative review application, which is a easy one-page permit for the patio, require the 2-to-1 mitigation, which would require me to meet with the current owners and come up with a planting plan for about 200 square feet of area, which they have plenty of area along existing edge of vegetation to do that. And then within, same time, within the next month, make sure the runoff gets into dry wells from the roof, give them a couple months to do that. So basically a certificate of compliance with a few contingencies. That's all I have, and especially because the property's changed hands. Some minor things need to be ironed out still, though. And again, Martha, the Realtor, is online if you have any questions.
Okay, I just have one question for you, Amy. Let me just clarify what you're recommending. It sounds like what you're recommending is that we approve the certificate of compliance, but based on a certain number of conditions that they would adhere to
Yeah, I'd put a letter together. They have to file an administrative review. I mean, they can do that within a week, but
Okay.
give them 30 days. And then also if the roof runoff is not into dry wells, that's typically 30 to 60 days for that.
Okay, because I think my preference, and, I'll open it up to discussion for other members of the board, would be to table this matter until they go through the process that you just described.
Okay.
And once they go through that process you just described, assuming everything is acceptable, then we can vote on the certificate of compliance. But that's my personal opinion.
That's fine to me as well.
Okay, and I don't think we would need a vote. Would we need a vote for that to table the matter? Or continue the
No,
matter?
but we'd want to have, confirm with,
Okay.
yes, she's off
Well,
now.
let me just ask for opinions of the
Yeah.
rest of the board members before we go any further on this.
Either way works for me.
Okay, I'll start with Wayne.
I agree with you, Jim. The work should be done before we issue a certificate of compliance.
Okay, thank you, Wayne.
I
Mark?
agree with that as well.
I agree.
Alan?
I agree.
Sophia, okay, so we're all in agreement with that. I guess there is somebody online who would like to speak to this matter?
Doesn't appear that she's on anymore.
Oh, maybe she got discouraged and left.
But I'll relay the information.
Okay, so Amy, do we need a motion to table or continue this
No,
matter?
I think you had a consensus, so.
Yeah, we did have a consensus.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Now, the next item on the agenda would be the review and approval of the minutes of our meeting of December 6th, 2023. And I would like to compliment Amy and the staff for getting these minutes so up to date. I mean, this was just the last meeting. So
We still have a few in the backlog, but we're getting there.
I think you're making excellent progress, and I want to
It's not me,
compliment
it's-
you and the staff on that.
Leah and Leisha.
Okay, so has everybody had a chance to review the minutes, or does people want a few more minutes to review the minutes? Okay. Hearing no comments, do I have a motion with regard to the approval of these minutes?
I would move.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the minutes of our meeting.
Hello?
Hello, was that?
1 minute, please.
Yeah, hold on for
Hi.
a second.
Okay.
And I have a second for that motion?
I have to abstain because I wasn't here.
Okay, that's all right, Alan. Do I have a second for this motion?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So anybody opposed?
Abstain, I wasn't here.
And one abstention. So I have 4 approvals and 1 abstention. The minutes are approved. Thank you. Now, whoever is online, could you please identify yourself?
Yes, this is Martha Knapp. I'm the Realtor for Daryl Swanson, who's the former owner of 9 Herring Run Road.
Yes,
My
correct.
microphone wouldn't work, and I had to jump off and get back
Oh,
on again.
I'm sorry.
Just two quick things I wanted to address with to Amy's comments. One is I have septic engineering that shows that it is an H20 system under the driveway, which would be rated for vehicle, and I can certainly send that to you. But the septic engineering shows that it is an H20 system,
Okay.
and the dry wells, have been put in for all the downspouts.
Great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
So the remainder is the patio. if you
Okay.
wa- And if you still feel like you want to do the admin review for that first.
I would prefer that.
Yep.
And I think the rest of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the rest of the board would prefer that.
Yes.
Yeah, I would
Okay,
agree.
so then let's go that route.
May I add one thing?
Yes, of
Gonna
course
wanna
you can.
verify the as-built
I will.
for the septic
Yep,
compared to the site plan that's done.
yep.
Okay, now we only have one other item on the agenda, discussion and possible vote, review of monitoring reports for Hinckley's Pond. Amy, do you want to speak to that matter?
Yeah, in light that John and Brad are not able to make it tonight, I would suggest that we table this to the next meeting, and also hopefully by the beginning of the next year, if not the next meeting or the meeting after, we might have actually we have the 2022 PALS data, which is a pond sampling data. But we don't have the 2023 yet. We might have that at the beginning of the year. So, I see no harm in calling it an early night tonight and late that we don't have a full board to discuss some of these items, because I have some concerns about the lack of reporting.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Amy, and I kind of agree. I think that, all of the board members are integral to this discussion, but I think John and Brad have some special interest in this matter. And I think if everybody else is in agreement, I think it makes sense to, delay discussion of this matter at least till our next meeting, assuming that both John and Brad would be present at our next meeting. But I don't think we need to vote on that, do we, Amy? No.
No, just agreement, unless if there's specific questions, I'm more than happy to take them.
Are there any questions?
I just
Alan,
have
go
questions
ahead.
I understand the concept of having all the members here, but we are a quorum,
Correct.
and we are volunteers that are here, and that, does this happen for me when I'm not available, when there's a discussion that I may have some interest in? So I'm just putting that out on the table to make it fair for everything.
Okay.
I have no problem doing it one way or the other. I'm just putting that out there, that we don't want to handpick different discussions because certain members aren't here.
Yep.
I think that would be a bad precedent set.
Well, I agree with you completely, Alan, but the one other comment that I want to make is, if I remember correctly, John was the one that requested this being on the
Yeah,
agenda.
John did request it.
Understood. Yeah, I got that. I'm just putting that out there.
No,
all.
that's fine,
Appreciate it,
Alan.
and
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely not trying to cherry pick and,
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't want that perception out there.
no.
No, we're definitely not trying to do that.
And they're really substantial reports if you took a look at the ones from 2020 and 2021, so it'll give everybody a little bit more time to review them as well.
Okay.
So.
If you have a quiet day on Christmas, you can review one of
Oh,
those.
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other business to bring before the commission this evening? Any other comments? Then, if there are no other comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to adjourn the meeting and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is